Okay, the first project is a garden-themed welcome sign. So we're using the daisies there for the embellishment. We got some scraps of burlap, the welcome sign from Dollar Tree. This video is part of the Springing It Up Farmhouse style playlist, and I'll tell you a little bit more about it after this first project. For now, I'm just showing you some of the things I'll be using. Like I pulled those baby's breath off of a heart pick. The welcome sign I've had since last year, and then I got this embroidery hoop from the thrift store. So I'm starting out by taking off the hanging sign, and I was going to put it back on, but I ended up breaking my W off, and it was just like a huge mess. It took me all day to finish it because I had to wait for the glue to dry. So anyways, you'll see how I deal with it. I'm going to paint the whole sign white. Well, just the words, the letters. And then I got like a mix of brown and some kind of crimson. And I did it like across on the bottom and up and down on the top. Then I'm coming in with sort of a dull green here, like an olive green. And then I'm going to put like a spring green on top of it to give it a little dimension. I'm actually painting this little, I think you call it a trowel. And I'm painting it in the basic colors, brown for the handle and silver for the little rake part. And I do have to come back and put a little bit of white here and there where I accidentally painted on the letters, but no biggie. I went ahead and dried it well before it came back in with the yellow. And the reason I did that is because I wanted the yellow to go on really nicely and have the white background. But in retrospect, I was gonna, distress it anyway, so I probably didn't have to do that. It depends on how you want your finished look to be. Do you want it colorful or do you want it distressed? I chose distressed because it's farmhouse style. So there you see me taking the clip off the W because I had to glue it together in two parts. So I gave it a couple hours to make sure that glue set. And then I got back to work. I've had this burlap like for 2 years since I first started my channel. And I'm just nearing the end of it now. I just put the largest part of the scrap over the inside hoop and then pressed down the outside hoop around it and then kind of tightened it. It's just nice and taut. I did a dry fit with the welcome sign and I liked how it looked. How I broke the W was trying to staple the hanging sign back on, so I chose a different way of attaching the welcome sign to it, and that's just with hot glue. So I did hot glue on the back of the letters, and then I flipped it over and did hot glue on the back, and then I took some fabric scraps to sort of put on top of where the glue is going through the burlap there. So I put a little scrap on top of it to give it a better hold. And I did that in a bunch of places. These are the florals that I picked out for this round. This garden round, welcome round. And I just made a little swag with I think that's boxwood. And I'm not sure what the flower is. It's like one of those long drapey ones. So I wrapped some twine around it, tied it nice and tight, but then I came back with some of this floral tape to get everything green, just in case it pokes through. Then after I fixed that greenery swag, I put my daisies in there. It looked a little bland on the bottom, so I decided to put in this burlap ribbon. And then because it was on the bottom, I put some on the top as well. I took this wired jute, made a hanging sign out of it. And then I came in with my sandpaper and give my colored items here a good distress. And then I still want a little bit more, so I used my fan brush and a little bit of the Rust-Oleum Linen White chalk paint to give it a more farmhousey look. And more looks of it during the final reveal. Jumping in with a little bit more information about the playlist. It's called Springing It Up Farmhouse Style. Our host is Kate at So Kate, and guest host is Tasha from Sunflower Tasha DIYs. The playlist happens every third Friday of every month at 1 p.m. and it's an open collab, so you can get in touch with Kate if you want to join. Their channel links as well as link to the playlist will be in my description box below. Project number 2 is another round. It's a pizza pan round, and it's a spring farm themed pizza round. The daisies in this project are in the background. And maybe we can count these little mini flowers as daisies. I don't know. I got those at Temu. The scrap paper I got at Temu. The cow came from Dollar Tree. And I believe this scrapbook paper is like 12 by 12. It's white on the back though. That's the only thing, but I hardly ever use scrapbook paper, and I got some from Temu because it was less expensive, and I thought, it's better to spend less and see if you actually like it or not. And I like it pretty much. Now, I'm getting Mod Podge on the pizza pan, but I didn't sand it or spray paint it, and I did not like the first coat. It was too sparkling, so I came back in, but this time instead of using a sponge like the first coat, I used a paintbrush, and then I was happy with the coverage. So, wow, it was really hard to pull apart this crate. I mean, they were pretty well made. It took me a while. The idea was to use the 2 shiplap looking panels as like a sign for the words farm, sweet, farm. So sweet will go on the little cow, and then farm on each of the panels. So I painted them with Rust-Oleum Linen White chalk paint, and mostly just by dabbing my sponge dabber. And if there was a little too much texture, then I would wipe it and then pounce it again. So I made the word sweet on my Cricut Joy and pulled off the background, came back and weeded the little parts. And then I put my transfer tape on top and flipped it upside down, and then very carefully using my tools to keep the word attached to the transfer tape, I slowly peeled the backing off. I find this is the easiest way to get the backing off. And then I came back in again with my tools and slowly pulled off the transfer tape. And there's how it looks. And I did put a coat of Mod Podge on there, just to cut down on the glare, the shininess of the word, and to make everything cohesive. There's my daisy scrapbook paper. I'm just going to do a rough cut after pressing the paper down against the edges of the pizza pan. I'm not concerned that it's not a perfect circle because I'm going to border it with some of that brown and nautical rope that Dollar Tree has. This is parchment paper and a Hippo heat press, and I'm just taking my time making sure to get all the edges, and what I do is I'll check it, and if it doesn't seem like it's down really flat, I'll just go over it again. And then I think I was filling in the hole there. I put a piece of painter's tape on the back and then put a couple of little dots of the white paint on top of it. Now I decided after a dry fit that the cow needed to be raised up because it was just a little bit too crowded if they were all flat. So I took those tumbling tower blocks and used hot glue wood glue combination. The same with these little panels here. And I guess I didn't show me putting the words on there, but I just used that stencil that you saw in the beginning. And it was pretty messed up because of the way that the shiplap part of the panels goes. But in a way, that's kind of what I wanted because, again, it's farmhousey looking. So I got those all attached by using that wood glue hot glue combination. Now I'm taking this ribbon, I made the awareness shape there you just saw, and then I wrapped some twine around the middle, tied it nice and tight on the back, and then I made a second bow, but probably like twice the size, and this is the burlap, not the burlap ribbon. The other one was burlap and buffalo check. This one's just buffalo check. I think I got these ribbons from Temu. So I put the small bow on top of the large one. They were both made the same way, but the large one I dovetailed and the small one I just cut on an angle so you could see the tails of the buffalo check one. I attached the two bows together and then just hot glued them down on the back or on the top. And you'll notice I put that top farm word down a little bit from the top, and that was to make room for the bow. Because you'll notice the farm word on the bottom goes all the way down, but the one on the top, I left some room. Gonna fluff with the bow and give you a better look during the final reveal. Project number 3 is a wood daisy spring garden. The daisies came from Dollar Tree. I've had these egg embellishments, came off a Dollar Tree sign, and this little bunny that I was practicing a marker on. And we're just gonna glue down that colored side. I went through my stash of Scrabble letters and found enough to spell the word spring, and then they'll be using various colors of acrylic paint and one chalk paint, just because I like the color of that one. So start by applying a Mod Podge to all the edges. The daisy in this one, besides the actual daisy flowers, will also come from this scrapbook paper that I put on those edges. So I whitewashed the daisies, then I used that brown chalk paint to do the stem, and then I did like a green wash using a damp baby wipe, just rubbing it in. Then I used a stencil brush and I pounced the color yellow into the middle, because that's what really makes a daisy, is that little yellow center. Couldn't decide what color I wanted that egg. I picked out this pale orange and pink, and I ended up just doing both of them. Kind of watered the paint down a little bit so it's sort of blended together, and I like that look. So this is the scrapbook paper I chose for this project. And I'm just taking my HIPAA heat press and parchment paper and giving it a good iron. I'll do the same for all 4 sides. I just sort of rough cut these strips of paper because I'm going to sand off the edges. And that paper was thick. It actually took me a while to sand off those edges, more so than, say, with a napkin or tissue paper. But you know what? Just take your time. Try to do it in one direction. But I actually did the up and down, and then when that was taking too long, I did go side to side, and that seemed to help. Normally, I would just do the up and down motion. But, you know, this paper is a little bit different than what I'm used to working with. I have those Temu, that Temu floral foam. And I took some extra packing paper and wrapped it around them. I did glue down the floral foam. And then the packing paper just, you know, makes everything much tighter and cleaner. Now I dry fit my word spring. And to get an idea of how much space I wanted on the ends. And then I glue down the middle letters first and worked from there. I used some hot glue to put a skewer on the back of that egg, but I didn't like that. It was just so sitting there, so I put down some Mod Podge and a scrap of burlap. Once I got it on there, I trimmed the edges, and then it didn't seem like it was going to be tight enough, so I put more Mod Podge on the back and waited till it was a little tacky before I handled it again. Going to hot glue this little bunny right in the middle, and you can take that little bunny out after Easter and maybe put in another flower, or put in some faux flowers, just poke them into the floral foam. I really like this floral foam that I got from Temu. These wood daisies just popped in there, so nice. You can put some hot glue down to stop it from moving around, but I didn't think it was necessary. I did have to put a little more floral foam in the front there because the skewer on the bunny egg wasn't hooking into the packing paper. So I just turned a piece of floral foam, and that worked. Now, finishing things off here, I got this Spanish moss. I ended up getting this from Target. I hadn't seen it at Dollar Tree for a while. I have reindeer moss. You could put some reindeer moss in there if you wanted, but I kind of wanted to stick with the one color. Now I'm going to make some little finger bows to cover up the holes there on the top of the daisy. And I just make mine like you would a tassel. I wrapped it around 3 fingers. Normally I would do my whole hand, but the daisies were pretty small, so I didn't need a really thick bow. So I wrapped it around 3 fingers, and then just took a piece of twine and wrapped it around the middle, and you get a good look at this during the final reveal.